Hi everyone, it's Kirstine from the Mustard Tree Trust.
Hi everyone. We've been going around to some of your schools to do our Lifepath on the road event, and several times when we have done this particular folding trick, lots of people have asked us, how does that work? Can you show us that again? So I thought I'd make you a quick video and tell the story so that everybody can see it, and maybe you can have a try and see if you can do it yourself. Okay, so here's the story that we've been telling. You see, Jesus spent a lot of time in the desert. And when he was talking to the people, he spent a lot of time with some fishermen who spent their time on the boats. Now, the temple leaders didn't like that. He didn't spend time in the temple like he was meant to. And they didn't like the fact that he didn't even have proper followers. He had fishermen as his followers. They also didn't like the fact that he went into people's houses. I mean, he went into Zacchaeus' house, a tax collector. And he also went into people's houses and he healed them from lots of things. But on top of that, he said that their sins were forgiven. I mean, who do you think he is? God or something? Only God can forgive sins. So they made life very difficult for him. And those temple leaders decided that they wanted to kill him. And that is why, when the disciples went for their special meal, they had to climb up the stairs and go into an upper room because they were frightened of what was happening in the city of Jerusalem. And when Judas came and handed him over to the temple guards, and the temple guards handed him over to the temple leaders, after putting him on trial, the temple leaders they manipulated the situation. They asked the Romans to intervene, and they handed him over to the Romans. And the Romans did what the Romans do best. They beat him up. They put a crown of thorns on his head. They whipped him so much that he could hardly talk, he could hardly walk, he could hardly stand. And when they'd done all of that, they dragged him up a hill and they killed him on a cross. No one deserves to die on a cross, least of all Jesus. And then, just to make sure that there wasn't any problems, that there was no trouble, they got 2 guards, or more guards, we don't really know. And they came with their spears to make sure that there was no trouble. And they took their spears and they pierced Jesus' side. And the Bible says out of it flowed blood and water. And actually, some of the guards were so not bothered by Jesus being killed that they decided to play a game. They decided to play a game of dice to see who could get a double 6, and that person would have Jesus' clothes. I wonder when those disciples looked back on their time and they saw and they remembered the blood that came out of Jesus' side, would they think about the blood that Jesus had said in his Last Supper, "This is my blood shed for you"? And in Lifepath on the Road, I was telling you about the Passover, because it was blood that saved God's people during Passover. Do you think the disciples remembered that too? Anyway, his close friends went and asked if they could have the body. And they wrapped it up, because that's what they did. I don't suppose the Jewish leaders were very bothered now. He was dead after all. Couldn't be any trouble. And they took the body. And one of his friends must have been a bit rich, because he had actually got himself a tomb. And they put Jesus in his tomb. And that's what happened on the Easter story. But we know that isn't the end, because we know that a few days later, Jesus did something absolutely amazing. Because Jesus was God, he was actually able to beat death. And this isn't the end of the story. So remember, although mankind did everything they could to hurt Jesus, God was in control. And at the end, he rescued Jesus, and he can rescue you too. That's what we believe as Christians. That's why I do these videos. So I hope you can try this and remember the story as you go. Well, I hope you remember that story now. I also hope you have a great holiday, and I look forward to seeing you again in September. Bye for now.